The one thing I've learned is you have to be a better listener than a better talker, and you have to have incredible empathy. That doesn't mean that you're going to understand everything and know everything and be able to have every answer to every question. I don't want to. That's why I hire staff. My requirement to people that are on my staff is you have to be smarter than me. And if you're smarter than me, you're in. And I got an 18 on the ACT 3 times. So it's not like it's a big high requirement. However, I'm kidding by
Three
that.
times, I'm sure.
No, I did 3 times. That's true.
Making
But
sure it wasn't a mistake.
no, that is 100% accurate. However, it's not about the book smart part of that or an ACT score. It's how we run our program and what we do and your expertise. One thing I've learned along the way, when I was a young head football coach, which I'm 40, so I consider myself a little older, but when I was 31, 32 years old, my first year or two being a head coach, I was the biggest micromanager. I was like, it's going to be this way, and this is the only way, and this is how we're going to coach that position, and that position, and that position. I went 1-11. I was the worst coach in America, all right? And the record reflected it. And it wasn't until my second year that I was like, you know what? The second year we were 1-3. So now all of a sudden I'm 2-14. Now everybody wants to fire me. But it was that point that I said, okay, I have to just let my people work, be heard, and do their job that I hired them to do within the confines of the culture. And that's when I realized I'm not just the football coach, I'm the cultural driver. So my job is to help coach and make my coaches, better teachers, better educators. They're the expert on their position. That's their job. They have to know that they have the ability to do their job. Same with the quarterback. I can't throw the ball for him. He's got to know that's going to be his job. But within the confines of the culture, we're going to do it a certain way. And getting everybody to believe in the certain way of doing it, but not specifically how to do it. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned as a young head coach. And I had to learn the hard way. And you learn 2 ways. You learn the easy way and the hard way. I had to learn the hard way because the hard way is all about you making the mistake. The easy way is learning from somebody else's mistakes. But it doesn't cut as deep because it truly doesn't affect you, right? And I've done a lot of things in my life that I've had to be able to learn the hard way, but I'm proud of those mistakes because they are mine. And when they're yours, you either decide I'm either going to do it again or not, but I know what the consequences are. And young people have choices of decisions, but they don't necessarily have the choice of the consequence. And that's the same thing for our coaches, same thing for me. And so we keep that all together, and my job is to keep driving the culture, keep the culture at the front of every conversation, but then allow people to be themselves. And I've had to learn that along the way.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about the listening piece, that is such a critical piece that we talk about, that we say our coaches need to do with our schools have to do with our students, is the first thing is you have to meet people where they're at. The school, the student, whatever, but to be able to do that means you need to listen a lot. And so to actually understand where they're at, to be able to get that next growth comes in place. But then that next piece becomes you have to believe they can do it. Kind of back to your third grade teacher, that you're like, do you really believe they can do it? Because that student is going to see it, that school is going to see it. And then that next piece is you have to believe that if they're working together, that they were going to absolutely kind of exponentially exceed anything that you initially envisioned that they could do alone. But that listening piece, to be like, where are you legitimately at? And establishing that trust, which you really talked about, is such a key piece. But that's one of the pieces that we're trying to always do with our schools.